Hi everyone, welcome back to Shespark, where empowering conversations unfold. My name is Ankitha, and today's guest is the amazing Dr. Sahila, founder of Wellness with Sahila, a program which strives to introduce individuals to alternative holistic healthcare treatments rather than traditional Western ones such as drugs and pills. In this video, we discuss a lot of topics that you've probably heard of before, such as yoga and chakras. But do you really know what exactly these terms mean and what they strive to do in terms of mental health and physical health? If you don't, stay tuned as we address these topics and many misconceptions about them. Enjoy the video! Hi everyone, welcome back to our second in-person episode, and today our amazing guest is Dr. Sahila, the founder of Wellness with Sahila and a faculty member at the Hindu University of America, and she specializes in all things yoga and chakras and Ayurveda. And I just want us to start off with you explaining what exactly Wellness with Sahila is.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Ankita. So for the newcomers here, I'm Dr. Sahila. I'm a certified internal medicine doctor who has practiced here in the US for 15 years and then founded Wellness with Sahila. So the goal of Wellness with Sahila is about fusing the modern medical concepts with the ancient sciences. So I'm not here attacking one, saying one is better than the other. But if we understand that every science has certain limitations to it, and if we try and incorporate the best part of every science, then that determines our future wellness.
That's very interesting. And can you tell us a little bit about why exactly you got into yoga?
Sure. So I started yoga practices when I started experiencing depression when I lost my father. That's when I started diving deep into the practice. And you must be wondering why then. So the life experience takes you on a road of discovery, right? So the experiences I had when taking depression, antidepressants particularly, was not very conducive for my daily life, because the side effects, particularly with losing hair, obesity, weight changes, mood changes, thyroid problems, something that I hadn't anticipated and had not prepared for my life. And I was only 37 when I started this treatments. So I decided I have to discover the root cause for this. And that is how I dive deep into the yoga practices. And when I say deep into the yoga practices, we'll hopefully get there what it means, because the Western concept of yoga is very superficial, and it's all about stretching hands and Pilates and all that kind of and yoga studios, things like that. But the actual yoga is about incorporating the mind, body, and soul into your practice, and that is what I like to emphasize here.
I think that's really important how you spoke about your experience with antidepressant pills. I definitely think that's what a lot of people go through, and not everyone likes to talk about it, the side effects, how that can really take a toll on you. So I'm glad that you found a journey out of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So throughout my medical career, when I was studying in my residency training, practicing, the emphasis was mostly on diagnosis and treatment. And that was a big discovery that I made when I started yoga chakras. And I said, this is a new side of medical science that I haven't even explored yet. And when I discovered chakras and how they were related to the human endocrine organ, that motivated me to write books about it. So if you
we have the books here.
Yeah, so this is the Chakra Handbook. So I have my second edition now coming out this week. So because this was the best selling of all my books, very popular. And my university students usually prefer this book. So this is
I can hold it up.
highly recommended, particularly for those of you who are new to yoga chakras and are trying to discover what Wellness with Sahila is about. And these are two other books that I published last year: 21 Steps to Reprogram the Mind and The Why Behind Cancer. So again, these are subjects that are very crucial
Definitely.
for today's society. And when people want to go into the depth of it, want to explore what ancient sciences are talking about these things, then these are the books to, you know,
Yeah,
refer
3
to.
very interesting topics. Can you go into, just for us beginners here, on a surface level, what is a chakra? Really?
Sure. Yeah. So chakras is, if you talk about broadly speaking, they are like energy centers. There are 7 energy centers along the region of the spine. And interestingly, what I discovered during my depth studying the depth of yoga is that these energy centers are very interlinked with our endocrine organs. So the lowermost chakra, the Muladhara chakra, and don't get scared by these Sanskrit terms. I know a lot of youngsters like you, they'll be like, oh my God, what is this term? And, I don't want to learn something that is so complex. It is not complex at all, because the names are self-explanatory. Mula is base, Adhara means support. So this Muladhara chakra is the first chakra, or the base for the body and the spine. And if the Muladhara chakra is blocked, or let's say it is not functioning to its optimum, then we experience psychological illnesses, which are the the root cause of all the modern medical problems, especially with youngsters today. And also it can also cause social problems. So this is the most important chakra that will allow us to grow. And this from here starts the other top 6 chakras.
I did not know that. That's very interesting. And I'm curious, what exactly blocks a chakra? What are some examples?
Yeah, sure. So the examples are, so if we talk about the Muladhara chakra, the base or the foundation, the blockage comes from fear. So if you might wonder, what has fear got to do with this? So if you look at the Muladhara chakra, it is allowing you to experience all the survival benefits, which is money, food, sex, shelter. These are all the basic survival needs that every human being has to acquire or wants to acquire in one's life. And if for some reason those basic survival needs are not met, say for example an orphan child, or a child in a war zone country like Syria, or even a child in America who is neglected, and we see that so often. You'll be surprised how kids with well-to-do families also face a lot of neglect. So those kids don't have survival needs met, and they manifest as various kinds of psychological illnesses pertaining to the emotion of fear. So such a child who is growing up in a neglected environment, growing up in a war zone country, or growing up in a poverty state, is not able to get his or her survival needs. And that child manifests that fear when she or he reaches a certain age in different ways. So this emotion is, you can say, it is hidden in the subconscious mind, and when that is not completely expressed or understood, that chakra becomes blocked.
So you're saying, sorry.
Yeah, I know it's a very deep, thought-provoking process. But if you take my chakra healing program, which happens every quarter, you will understand how these emotions can lead to various kinds of illnesses. And I have a host of illnesses that gives rise to Muladhara chakra blockage.
So would you say that understanding all of this helps you build a better understanding of your own health, something that maybe Western medicine can't provide you, like a different perspective?
Yes, totally. So that is what the ancient sciences are interestingly focused on. So if you talk about Ayurveda, have you heard of Ayurveda?
I have.
Yeah. So Ayu is lifespan, and Veda is the science. So Ayurveda is nothing but knowing how to expand your lifespan. So it doesn't talk about treatment or diagnosis as the foremost. So very interestingly, it talks about the focus should be on, building synchrony, a harmony within your metabolic systems, within your body, with connecting with your mind. So those things are very important. And there is a term in for that in yoga which is called klesha, or ignorance. So when you're ignorant of your own body and mind, that is what leads to all these modern day illnesses that we see.
So I want to ask you, we touched upon this before, like the Western idea of yoga and chakras. Do you think there are a lot of misconceptions, specifically in America, about maybe Indian practices such as this?
Yeah. So when we talk about Indian sciences, it's commonly not recognized as a fruitful science. Reason being, the medicines and the treatment are not patented. Do you understand
Yeah.
patency of the
Yeah.
drugs? So these things are is a first of all, pharmaceutical industry is a huge multi-million dollar industry, and doctors like us have very little control of what drugs get patented and which drugs can be used or studied for which illnesses. So a lot of people out there don't know that. So we doctors follow the latest recommendations that are being directed by the pharmaceutical companies. So indirectly, they are being the controller of the doctors.
Because your job is just to administer it, right?
Yeah, right. So I'm not saying they're doing a very bad job, but the irony is that despite investing multi-million dollars in these companies, the focus is again on treatment, because that is what is going to fetch more money, right? But if I focus on prevention, then it is not going to be fetching more patients to the hospitals or more patients to the doctors. So that's the number one irony in modern medicine. In contrast to Ayurveda, they focus on prevention, and their drugs are not patented. Why? Because their drugs and herbs are coming from the natural resources. So those are considered as unconventional when we refer to with modern medical practices. But a person who starts developing faith in these practices and does them with commitment and with a total understanding, like how I started off doing 10 years ago. I must also emphasize here that I became pill free from all my antidepressants about 5 years ago.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and I've never wanted to go back to the pills, never faced depression again. So that is the power of these healing, particularly chakra healing practices that I teach for my participants.
When you were a doctor and you were starting to get into all this and start to move away from, pills and everything, were you met with criticism and skepticism from other doctors?
Yeah, very much. So when I said, when I 5 years ago, when I decided that I'm going to start Wellness with Sahila, a lot of friends and colleagues thought I had gone crazy, which is fine, because they have a very limited understanding of what yoga is, and they had a very limited understanding of what the role of a doctor is in the community. But my vision was much larger. My vision was, through Wellness with Sahila, to teach people how to live pill-free, stress-free, and disease-free. So this was, even though idealistic, it was a very tough vision to execute. And many people thought I had lost my mind because I was giving up my 6-figure salary to start something that I had no experience about. And also, I don't think any of the doctors have tried venturing into a path that is this challenging.
Yeah, this is very unique. It's
Yeah.
very noble of you, actually.
Thank you. But I must tell you, the 4 years or 5 years since I started this has been very humbling, and a lot of clients and participants and youngsters like you who want to know about this find it very interesting, and also have been very grateful to understand when they experience these healing practices.
I think this journey requires a lot of determination and discipline, but it ends up being very rewarding in the end, right?
Yes. And it also helps motivating other people around you, right?
Have you noticed that when you start this, like in your friends and the people that you work with, have you noticed that their mental health has gone much better?
Yeah, definitely. So it motivates people around you, and it's funnily people who were ridiculing me about 5 years ago, now they come to me for advice, and they ask me, like, I'm going through something like this, and I tried this pills, or I did something like this, and it got worse, or it's not getting better, and they want to get some advice now, which I think is a big step forward for me. So yes, it is. It has also influenced my family a lot. My husband, my kids, everyone are motivated to be at their best.
Definitely.
It's not just about career, but it's about a lifestyle for everyone, right? So it definitely motivates my friends, my family members, my in-laws, everyone. So it's a definitely a bonus.
That's amazing. So do you see these type of practices growing not only in America, but in India and the rest of the world?
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of people are beginning to realize that the chronic illnesses, particularly whether it's obesity or diabetes or cancer or high blood pressure, the numbers are growing. Even depression, we know that World Health Organization has recognized that depression is a new epidemic now.
Yeah.
So now it is younger and younger population are being diagnosed with depression. Same thing with diabetes. Now we have one diabetic or two diabetic per family.
Really?
Yeah, so it's getting, and pre-diabetes. Yeah, it's about 97 million people are in America alone are diagnosed to be pre-diabetes. So that means they are going to develop diabetes in the near future. So what are we doing to prevent this upsurge? So that is created a lot of fear in people's minds.
Yeah.
And they will be like, why are the numbers increasing? Why are we seeing this now more and more? We're hearing about cancer more, we're hearing about diabetes more, obesity. It's another.
Yeah, that's growing.
Yeah, so 50% of Americans are going to be obese by the turn of the decade. 50%.
Oh my God.
So every other person is going to be overweight by 2030.
Wow.
So what are we doing? And we are only prescribing, we are only suggesting remedies and short-term treatments. But long-term, nobody is focusing on that.
Yeah.
Because that is not fetching them
money,
dollars, right? So that is where the fear is setting in today, and people are looking for other sciences and alternative methods to prevent and stop or even slow down the progression of these illnesses. So when we talk about chronic illnesses, definitely I see that interest growing in America, in India, and particularly with the educated population.
And by educated communities, you mean like college-going people?
College-going people who are graduates, postdocs, graduates. So these people are now asking the questions: why are these illnesses seem more common than than my parents' generation or grandparents' generation?
But I feel most people are aware that something like this exists. It's not like people aren't even aware of it. It's more they're afraid to step out and try it because they feel like, oh, you have to be Indian to try it, you have to be Hindu to try it.
Not necessarily. So this book, Chakra Handbook, has nothing to do with Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma. It is purely a scientific book. People who understand human body and mind, who want to explore the yoga in a deeper sense, then definitely I would suggest go for that. And not to and when you say, you brought out a good point, because you need a lot of discipline when
Yeah.
it comes to yoga, and that a lot of people are not able to commit.
Funny story, I tried to do yoga every morning. I woke up and I was like, I'm going to be so disciplined. I'm going to do my poses every morning. I'm going to wake up
Yes.
early and do it before my daily routine.
And
It didn't last a week.
Yeah. So that's the thing, that we haven't incorporated yoga and meditation in schools.
Yeah.
So that is my goal for the future, to have them in schools, and all universities and colleges must incorporate this section.
But interestingly enough, I read a news article, I think maybe 1.5, 2 years back. Countries in Europe, like Germany's starting to promote a lot of
Yes.
yoga and
Yes.
meditation in schools.
Meditation in schools.
I remember in 5th grade, my guidance counselor would come in once a week and do mindfulness. So it was kind of like meditation, but it was labeled a little different.
Right.
We would sit down and we would like reflect on our days, reflect on our thoughts.
Yes.
So same idea kind of. So I definitely see it growing in the schools.
Yeah. But a little bit more depth has to be added to
Yes.
it, a little bit more discipline, and a little bit deeper understanding. So right now we have a very superficial understanding of what is mindfulness or what is yoga, but if you want to understand the concepts that are buried and hidden in it, then it's important to that you take control over that. Yoga and meditation has to be incorporated as part of your daily spiritual practices.
Definitely.
And that is the discipline or the mindset that I want to bring forward to the younger generation.
I think this is amazing. It's really giving people a chance to take their mental health and even their physical health into their own hands, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that's great.
Also, I'm conducting an open air pranayama session, which is a breathing techniques, where I teach 12 kinds of breathing techniques in my outdoor setting. So pranayamas are very powerful if it is done in an outdoor setting, because when we do pranayamas, we are expelling toxins from our system, and it is best done in an outdoor setting, so we are not accumulating the toxins around us, right? In an indoor, then all those toxins that we expelling stays in our vicinity. But when we do it outdoor, it is out, and we are inhaling fresh oxygen from the plants, because that is what they are expelling, and it becomes our tonic.
Interesting. Yeah.
So that's something that I have started. So every year I try to improvise the programs and sessions based on people's interests. And yes, so I have some interesting upcoming books, which is called Science of Kundalini, another book on obesity, and another book on marriage, because I see a lot of 20s and 30s coming for counseling for marriage and relationship issues. So I do try to cover all those aspects from a wholesome and more deeper understanding of what ancient science is about.
Yeah, I love that. And I feel so lucky you just gave us a sneak peek at your upcoming works.
Yes, yes.
So just to close this amazing discussion off, what advice do you have to someone, like anyone, who has absolutely no experience with any of the topics that we just covered, but they want to start incorporating these practices into their daily lives?
Sure. Wonderful question. So when somebody is listening to this interview, and you may be of different age group, going through a different kind of an illness that I didn't mention, or you're going through some really different struggles that I'm not aware of, where do you start with Wellness with Sahila? So if you type in Wellness with Sahila, there is a free consultation that anybody can just plug in their name and phone number, and you can get a 15-minute consultation with me online. And by doing that consultation, I'm able to understand the person's stage of life you're in, what circumstances you're living in right now. You may be living in a very difficult situation right now, where you are not able to practice yoga. Let's say the person is wheelchair bound. So what can a person like that do to incorporate wellness, versus somebody who's just into college and is going through depression and drugs and feeling suicidal? So what can that person do? So there's a wide variety of things that can be done, but targeting to your situation. So go to wellnesswithsahila.com and plug in your details, and we can fix a time to understand your situation and then start from there. And then we are going to use multiple sources, right? For someone well educated, I might say read this book and listen to this podcast and then take up this class. And for a person who's wheelchair bound, I might say join my pranayama practice, where you can just sit on the wheelchair
and the breathing
and do the breathing exercises. So it is varied, and it can be targeted and focused to your situation. So that is what I would say to the audience listening.
And everything that Dr. Sahila has mentioned, all her programs, all her books, everything will be linked down below if you're interested in that. And thank you so much for sharing everything with us.
I have to tell you,
I enjoyed it so much.
I have to tell you that Ankitha is as old as my son, and when she approached me, I was amazed by her enthusiasm, and that's what made me say yes to the session.
Well, I'm very
and the
thankful.
Interview. So I'm wishing you best of luck for your future.
Thank you.
I'm sure you're going to, fly high.
And maybe I will uptake yoga again and succeed this time.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.